The beeping of the heart monitor was the first thing Anna heard when she drifted back into consciousness. Her eyelids felt like lead, and every breath was an effort, but the faint cries of a newborn stirred her from the drugged darkness. "Mama," she thought, trying to piece the last few hours together. The sterile scent of antiseptic, the soft shuffle of nurses' shoes, the faint echo of hushed voices. She was in a hospital. The baby? Her hand flew weakly to her side, feeling for the swell that was no longer there. A soft wail from the bassinet beside her bed made her heart clench. Her baby boy. He was here. He was safe. Tears pricked her eyes as she turned her head. A nurse noticed she was awake and hurried over. "Mrs. Collins? You're awake," the nurse said gently, adjusting the foredrip. "Where's Michael?" Anna rasped. Her throat was dry and her voice cracked like old parchment. The nurse paused. She gave a tight, pitying smile. "I think he stepped out, dear. He hasn't been here since last night." Anna's brow furrowed. Since last night? She forced herself to sit up, ignoring the pain that lanced through her belly. "Can you call him? Please, I need to see him." The nurse hesitated. "Do you have his number?" He didn't leave any details at the front desk. Anna's mind spun. No number? Her husband, Michael. She replayed the last moments before the birth. The pain. The panic. The arguing. 3 nights ago. "Michael, please, call an ambulance," Anna had begged, doubled over on the cracked linoleum floor of their small kitchen. "It's time I can't." Michael's face had been pale and drawn, his eyes hollow with exhaustion and worry. "Anna, we can't afford a hospital now. Maybe you can hold on." "Hold on." Anna had gasped between contractions. "Michael, the baby is coming now." He had run a hand through his greasy hair. "I don't know what you want me to do. We don't have the money, Anna. I've been breaking my back, but it's never enough. How are we supposed to pay the doctor, huh? How?" Before Anna could reply, the front door had slammed open. Vivian, her best friend, stormed in like a fury. She took in the scene, Anna on the floor, Michael wringing his hands, and didn't waste a second. "Get her up." Vivian barked. "Michael, help me carry her to my car." Michael just stood there. Vivian shot him a look of pure disdain before crouching down to grip Anna's shoulders. "You're gonna be okay, sweetheart. I've got you," she whispered fiercely. Back in the present, Anna's vision blurred as she remembered. Vivian, her only true friend, had done everything. "Where is Vivian?" she thought desperately. Can you call my friend Vivian Adams?" she asked the nurse. "Please." The nurse nodded. "Of course." Anna's baby gurgled softly beside her. She reached over with trembling fingers, touching the tiny fist that curled around her pinky. A tear slid down her cheek. A few hours later, Vivian burst into the hospital room, breathless and furious. "Oh, Anna, sweetheart." Vivian pressed her into a gentle hug, careful of her stitches. "Vivian, where's Michael?" Anna's voice cracked. Vivian's eyes hardened. "He's gone, Anna. He left. The nurses said he walked out right after you were moved to recovery." "He left," Anna whispered. "Left us? But the bills. I'll figure something out." Vivian swallowed hard, her face set with grim determination. "I'll borrow what I can. Don't you worry about him. He's a coward. He's not worth one more tear." Days turned to weeks. Vivian managed to pay half the hospital fees with money she scraped together from friends and a loan she knew she couldn't afford. Anna was discharged, clutching her newborn to her chest, stepping into a world that suddenly felt so much colder. Every day she hoped Michael would call, or knock on the door, or show up with apologies and explanations. He never did. Vivian did what she could. She bought diapers, formula, secondhand baby clothes. But eventually her funds dried up too. One night, as Anna watched her baby sleeping in the battered crib someone had donated, she whispered to the darkness, "I have to stand up. For you. I have to." 6 months later, Anna's first day at the mansion had ended long after the sun dipped below the skyline. By the time she unlocked the door of her tiny rented room, her arms ached from scrubbing floors and lifting trash bags twice her weight. She paused at the door, pressing her forehead against the wood for a moment before pushing it open. Inside, her baby boy lay on a makeshift bed, just a thin mattress laid across two old crates, covered with a faded blanket. He stirred at the sound of the door and let out a soft, sleepy cry. "Shoo, Mama's here," Anna whispered, dropping her worn-out bag by the door. She bent over the crib, scooping him into her arms. His warmth seeped into her bones, chasing away the cold that had settled in her heart. She sat on the edge of the bed, rocking him gently. The hush of the room was broken only by the sound of the city outside. Distant cars, an occasional shout, a dog barking somewhere in the alley. "There now, Elijah," she murmured, kissing the soft fuzz of his hair. "Mama's got you. We'll be all right, you hear me?" She meant it, she had to, even if every step felt like walking through mud. The next morning, Anna rose before dawn. The landlord didn't allow tenants to leave babies alone, so every morning she strapped Elijah to her chest in a sling made from an old bedsheet. She'd leave him with Mrs. Kemi, the elderly woman next door, who watched him for a few hours each day for a small fee. Before leaving, she'd boil water on her tiny stove, mixing it carefully with the last bit of powdered formula Vivian had bought her weeks ago. Some days she stretched it with mashed rice when the tin ran empty. "Elijah, you have to grow strong, my love," she would whisper as she spooned the thin porridge into his waiting mouth. His big brown eyes, Michael's eyes, would blink at her, trusting, innocent, not knowing she often went without eating so he could have enough. After feeding him, she'd wash the 2 bottles she owned, rinse out his only blanket, hang it over the broken chair by the window. Then she'd stand in front of the cracked mirror, tying her hair back, pinching her cheeks to put some color in them. "You can't look tired," she told herself. "They don't want a tired cleaner." At the mansion was another world. Chandeliers, marble floors, golden fixtures, rooms bigger than her entire flat. Anna scrubbed every corner, polished brass banisters until they gleamed, emptied bins full of expensive perfume boxes and half-eaten pastries. She wondered what it felt like to live here, to never worry about rent, or formula, or the landlord banging at the door. Some evenings she'd hide in the back garden for a moment, wiping sweat from her brow as she looked up at the mansion's glowing windows. Maybe one day, she thought, maybe Elijah will know a life like this. Maybe if I work hard enough, he'll never know what hunger feels like. Nights at home. By the time she got back each night, Elijah would already be dozing in Mrs. Kemi's lap. The old woman would nod sympathetically as Anna fumbled for a few crumpled bills to pay her. "He's a good boy," Mrs. Kemi would say softly. "Strong, just like his mother." Anna would smile, a tired smile that didn't always reach her eyes. "Thank you, Mama Kemi. God bless you." Back in her room, she'd feed Elijah again, sometimes just warm water to soothe him when she had nothing else, and then curl around him on the mattress. She'd trace the soft curve of his cheek with her thumb, listening to his breathing slow and deepen. In those moments, in the hush between her exhaustion and his dreams, she allowed herself one tiny luxury: hope. Maybe next week will be better. Maybe next month. Maybe. The struggle worsens. But hope didn't pay the debts piling up in crumpled envelopes under her pillow. When she couldn't pay the full rent, the landlord would bang on her door, shouting threats about eviction. When the formula ran out, she diluted Elijah's bottles with water, praying his tiny belly wouldn't ache. Sometimes, when he cried at night from hunger, she pressed him to her chest, murmuring lullabies through her own quiet tears. "Sleep, baby. Sleep, just sleep a bit more. Mama's trying." She wore the same uniform every day, mending the tears with tiny stitches by candlelight. Some nights she wondered how much more she could break before there was nothing left. The night it all changed. One evening, Anna worked later than usual, helping the head housekeeper polish the ballroom floor for a party the family would host the next day. By the time she stepped into the garden to catch her breath, the sun had vanished, replaced by a thick, damp darkness. She heard them before she saw them. Whispers near the servants' gate, low voices slicing through the hush. At first, she ignored it. Probably the gardener, she thought. But something, maybe instinct, maybe fear, made her stop and listen. "It'll be tomorrow night. He always leaves the safe open when he's drunk." Her breath caught in her throat. She ducked lower behind a hedge, straining to hear. We slip in through the garden entrance. And out. No mistakes this time. A second voice, familiar, painfully familiar, cut through her like a knife. Who's watching the security cameras? The voice asked. Anna's hand flew to her mouth. Michael. Her knees nearly gave way. Michael, he planning to rob the family that gave her work. The family whose money kept her baby fed. A hot, cold wave of anger and disbelief crashed over her. She felt the soil bite into her palms as she knelt in the damp grass, forcing herself to breathe quietly, not make a sound. As the voices faded, Anna's mind raced. Her son's face, Elijah, sleeping safely in Mrs. Kemi's flat, flashed before her eyes. No more. I won't let him take everything from me again. She stood up, wiping her trembling hands on her apron. She knew what she had to do. To be continued.